Get ready. Our Attraction Graveyard series is one of our more popular creations on our channel. With a park as expansive and historic as Cedar Point, it can be difficult to detail many of the former attractions at this park. We've listened to your feedback and decided we'd create a part 2 so we can provide you with another history lesson. We've collated another 7 Cedar Point closed rides for you to pine over and take you on another trip down memory lane. If you haven't already, make sure to check out our original video after this one to get the full experience. But give this video a like if you love this park as much as we do, and subscribe to our channel as we put out new videos every week. We know many people have been visiting this park for decades and will have fond memories of some of these former rides. And with that said, let's jump back in time as we explore some more historic closed rides at Cedar Point. Get ready. Wicked Twister, 2002 to 2021. Kicking things off is the most recent addition to feature in this video in the Attraction Graveyard, Wicked Twister. This ride was a double twisting impulse coaster manufactured by Intamin that ran from the years 2002 to 2021. When it opened, it was the tallest and largest inverting coaster in the world. Legendary Twin Dragon at Chongqing Sunac Land in China would later take both records in 2021, just in time for it to be added to the Cedar Point closed rides list. Reaching a top speed of 116 km an hour or 72 miles per hour, it launched riders up 2 vertical twisting towers to a max height of 63 meters or 206 feet. The towers were situated on either side of the propulsion motors in the station, sending the ride back and forth up each tower. Wicked Twister completed 16 million rides during its lifetime. Pirate Ride, 1966 to 1996. Pirate Ride, as the name would suggest, was a historic pirate-themed dark ride that was located at Cedar Point from 1966 to 1996. The ride was originally built for the short-lived Freedomland USA, located in New York. Freedomland originally opened in 1960 but was closed in 1964 after just 4 years of operation. It was later relocated to Cedar Point in 1966. Despite what you would expect, Pirate Ride was a traditional tracked dark ride. Unlike many of its counterparts, including those of the Disney variety, it wasn't actually a boat ride. Considering its age, it was almost more of a ghost train but with a pirate theme. While not much by today's standards, many recall this attraction with fond memories. We'd love to see Cedar Point getting a modern, state-of-the-art dark ride at some point. It would really help the overall attraction lineup. Space Spiral, 1965 to 2012. Space Spiral was the park's gyro tower, manufactured by Swiss company Von Roll. It opened at Cedar Point in 1965 and operated in the park all the way until 2012. This afforded guests the opportunity to see amazing 360-degree views of the park and surrounding Lake Erie. Space Spiral reached a maximum height of 330 feet or 100 meters, towering above the park until the arrivals of the 130-meter Top Thrill Dragster in 2003. Nonetheless, the attraction was still the first amusement park ride to top 300 feet at the time. The ride was eventually demolished in 2012, where it was reported that it only took a total of 17 seconds for the tower to fall. Incidentally, the removal of this attraction was to make way for Gatekeeper. But it wasn't the only attraction whose closure was required to free up some space for this new coaster. Avalanche Run and Disaster Transport, 1985 to 1989 and 1990 to 2012. When curating our previous defunct list of closed Cedar Point rides, Disaster Transport is one that many were quick to point out as one of their favourites. The ride originally opened as Avalanche Run though back in 1985. It was an Intamin Swiss bob coaster and took place exclusively outdoors, which may surprise some viewers. Bob coasters, as the name would suggest, act like bobsleds, allowing the cars to freely roll down a pipe instead of on tracks, as you would find on a traditional roller coaster. Riders were brought to a top height of 19 meters or 63 feet and experienced a top speed of 64 km an hour or 40 miles per hour. While the stats are relatively tame, not being on a proper track gives bobsled coasters a unique feel that it's slightly out of control, which just increases the intensity. In 1989, Cedar Point announced that the ride would be refurbished for the following season. Disaster Transport opened in 1990, offering a more immersive experience to the traditional bobsled coaster. The ride was now located indoors and utilised the space theme. The queue offered special lighting effects, 2 robot animatronics, and a specifically composed soundtrack. Many of these new effects quickly began to deteriorate as they weren't necessarily looked after. By 2012, Cedar Fair decided that the ride itself was beyond repair and was set to be demolished. The ride last operated in July of the same year. The area was later cleared to make way for the current Gatekeeper wing coaster we know today. One of the original animatronics is still on display in the ride's gift shop, paying homage to the history of the former attraction. Luminosity, Ignite the Night, 2012 to 2017. Cedar Fair wanted to change some of the narrative around their parks, which meant that more focus was placed on entertainment. While the parks are often known for their coasters and thrill rides, additional shows were key to their transformation. This is perfectly exemplified by 2012's Luminosity Ignite the Night. Cedar Fair wanted to help liven up the park in the evening by adding lights, music, and an evening spectacle to the main midway of the park. The show featured dancers, singers, drummers, and cirque performers. The music used was often contemporary pop music, adding to the party atmosphere in the evenings, and it featured 3 themed segments: land, sea, and space. The 25-minute show ran almost every night during their operating seasoning, apart from Tuesdays. General feedback was good, but Cedar Point decided to retire the show in 2017. Vertical Impact, an acrobatic stunt show, would later replace it. Witch's Wheel, 1977 to 2018. Witch's Wheel was a traditional enterprise attraction manufactured by Huss and operated at Cedar Point for over 40 years. Originally opening in 1977, it became another Cedar Point closed attraction in 2018. For those that aren't aware, an enterprise attraction is a circular flat ride that seats riders in their own gondola. The wheel then rotates, eventually picking up enough speed that it begins to tilt and lift on one side. This leads to a centrifugal effect where riders are almost stuck to their seat as they are inverted several times. Witch's Wheel reached a top height of 18 meters, which was the standard template for Huss enterprise attractions. The ride was eventually cleared to make way for another food option for Cedar Point. The current Back BQ restaurant would open in its place in 2019. Vertigo, 2001 to 2001. Vertigo is easily the shortest lived ride to feature in today's video. This attraction originally opened in August 2001, but never opened for the following season. Vertigo was manufactured by S&S Worldwide and was their new Sky Sling thrill ride. Another Vertigo was opened at Knott's Berry Farm at the same time, but received a similar fate as its Cedar Point counterpart. In a way, Vertigo operated similarly to the slingshot rides you see dotted around many tourist destinations these days. The ride was made up of 3 poles, which held a triangular ride vehicle holding 6 riders via cables. Riders would be flung upwards to 91 meters with various intensity settings. During the off-season though, one of the poles snapped due to prolonged wind and weather conditions. A decision was therefore made to close both rides due to safety concerns. If you haven't already, check out our original visit to the attraction graveyard for this park on our channel. A link for that video will be on screen now. Despite there being 2 entries into the attraction graveyard for Cedar Point, there's still plenty that we have missed. What former attractions at this park have you been on that we haven't covered in either list? Let us know in the comments below. And now you're ready.